Hey guys, Scott here. Just wanted to kind of pointlessly rant about something. Unlike all my other videos, which are very, very important and very meaningful, I've been playing Killer. I play mostly Killer. I play like 75% Killer, 25% Survivor. I even saw that on the stats website. That's actually my ratio this entire time. So for all people that say I'm super Survivor sided, I am literally Killer sided, at least in terms of what I play. But I understand because I try to take more of a neutral stance that whenever I'm not catering to the side I normally play, it seems like I'm pandering. Whatever. We've had this argument 50,000 times, but not the point of the video. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was how while playing Killer, this past month and I've noticed it's going to be for a while now, Killer queue times are pretty damn bad. And this makes it kind of unpleasant to play the game in general. Now, I want to play 2v8. 2v8 is still, in my opinion, the most fun thing in this entire game. Playing 2v8, I am having a good time, whether I'm winning, losing, I'm never frustrated. It's just always, always fun for me. The problem is, as I'm sure you guys know, the Killer queue times are basically unplayably bad. This is the worst it has ever been. It is like literally 25 minutes minimum on like an off time. It is so bad that no one is streaming it anymore. It's just not a sustainable stream thing to do. You would basically have to change your stream game to just something else because you're not even playing the majority of DBD at that point. You're playing whatever you're doing in the meantime. That being said, the world doesn't revolve around streamers. I understand that, but nobody wants a 30-minute queue time. That's just bad for everybody. And I really think behavior should not have shipped this 2v8 without the changes they are planning to make, which admittedly sound awesome, where you can basically queue as Survivor while you wait and then have a Killer game ready for you when you go. That's great. I don't know why they ship this version again without giving survivors anything and just adding more killers. It's like they didn't think of the fact that you really need to cater to survivors a lot as well in order for killer queue times to not be unplayably terrible. But they just gave survivors nothing, and in fact, they just took away the herbs, which actually empowered survivors quite a bit. They gave them some shitty fog crystal thing that does nothing most of the time. Overall, we're left in a scenario where, yeah, people are going to be playing mostly killer in this mode, and so your queue times are going to be unforgivably bad. Now, the problem is this also affects regular DBD too. My regular killer queues are 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes now, which is really bad considering it's usually for me about 10 to 15 seconds. So the wait time has been multiplied by like 15. It's just so much worse. And this is a direct result of 2v8. You think, okay, well, 2v8 is going to end and that's, fine. Then they'll go back to normal. Other problem is that they won't, because right after that we have Five Nights at Freddy's coming out, which will again only feature killer content, which means killer queues are gonna be bad again. We're just gonna have a period of like 3 months where killer queues are just really terrible because they have not given Survivor basically much of anything. The only thing they've gotten is Orella. Orella is the only thing that they've gotten, and that's not even a particularly exciting change, or perks are just, kind of whatever, but as soon as you learn them, that's it. Survivor releases, unless it's like Nick Cage and some ridiculous meme, are never as exciting as killer releases because Survivors are just skins of each other. They didn't make different sounds and they look different. That's pretty much it. Other than that, though, you just put your perks that you learn on them on anyone you want. With Killer, though, it's an entire new playstyle, new powers, new add-ons. It's just all far more exciting when there's a new killer. So yeah, when we have the scenario where we're in a drought for killers because of 2v8, in 2v8 it's unplayable, in 1v4 it's much, much, much worse, then we're going to go directly into Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's going to remain worse, if not get even worse, because now all the 2v8 players will be back into 1v4, but they're all going to be on killer, so that might even be even worse than that. Kind of like whenever you try to play a killer that's being tested on the PTB, you can't do it. You need a custom game. It takes 40 minutes to get a game. So we're going to have that, and nothing is really going to change for like months and months. There's no shiny toys for survivors to get here. And the closest thing I can think of is eventually survivors will be getting a couple of nice features of quality of life, like with the whole anti-slugging thing they're proposing, the anti-go next thing, which is very scary, but if implemented properly will be great. Those are shiny new survivor toys that affect the game and make the game far more enjoyable for survivor. But I don't know what form of them we're going to get with Five Nights at Freddy's. I ideally, we would just get everything, but behavior, sometimes they release stuff and say, this is just a first draft of it, we're going to be improving it, blah, blah, blah. I'm genuinely terrified of the first draft of the go next prevention. I think people are going to get falsely banned, or it's going to do nothing with no in between. It's too scary a thing for them to automate. So I am really worried about that. But Overall, I'm just saying, for killer, you would think this would be a self-sustaining or a self-limiting problem, because if killer queue times get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, you think there's eventually going to be a cap there where killers are going to get fed up with it and just say, fuck it, I'm either not playing DBD or going to play Survivor. But seemingly that's not the case, because my killer queue times in at least 2v8, they just keep getting worse and worse. So I don't really think that's even something that will get just fixed by the nature of, hitting a theoretical limit there. I think we're just stuck with this for a very long time. And this is something I don't want to just complain about. I want to offer suggestions to fix things like this. Whenever you have lots of killer-centric updates in a row, or things that will make far more people play killer, either because they make Survivor worse, or because they make killer better, or because they have a fun mode that really mostly benefits killer, they need to always ship that with some other exciting Survivor thing, some kind of meta shakeup with the perks, some type of, I don't know, some base change to the game that affects Survivor, a new item that survivors can get, new add-ons for whatever. Just like, they need to give something to the other role whenever these have these updates. That's why I never really like paragraphs that much. It's never as bad when we have a Survivor paragraph, when it's just a Survivor. Killer paragraphs are always much worse for queue time. So I do think whenever there's a killer-focused patch, they do need to give survivors, even if it doesn't buff them in any meaningful way, just something new and shiny. Make those smoke grenades a new base item in the game, for example. I don't know, just shit like that. Just something different. It's got their own add-ons. You can throw confetti in there. You can change the colors of it. You can make or reading an add-on. You just do something different. If there's one message to take away from this rambling rant of a video, it's that whenever there is a killer-focused update, make it so survivors get a little bit of a treat as well. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in this scenario where for months and months and months, killers have extremely terrible queue times, and I think that's really going to alienate a lot of people from wanting to play the game. So that's just my little mini rant on it. It sucked streaming DBD lately because I just playing killers. I'm playing mostly a different game at this point, and I'm not as big of a fan of Survivor. So yeah, it's been a little rough for me. Again, boohoo streamer. A lot of you can just go join a 2v8 queue, go take a shit, go to school, finish your homework, eat dinner, cure cancer, and then come back and play a game, and that's fine. But I can't afford to do that, so more of a mini rant just on my side, but I do think behavior should address issues like that. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I missed the stop record button, so now I'm just awkwardly sitting here